Kudumiyanmalai is a small village near Pudukkottai district of Tamil Nadu, India. Here one well-known Lord Shiva temple, named as Shikagureshwarar, at the foothill of one hillock, under the control of Indian archaeology, for its very rare sculptures, inscriptions, and for its raw-cut status. At 20 km away from Pudukkottai, it had experienced the patronage of various dynasties, like Cholas, Pandyas, Pallavas, Noyaks, and so on. There has been a legend about the name reason of this place, and about the presiding deity, Lord Shiva. This place had been called as Tirunelakundram at 8th century, as this had been known to us by the inscriptions of early Pandyan dynasty. After this, at 14th century, this place had been called as Shiganallur, and the presiding deity had been praised as Siganathar. Later, at 17th century, this could have been name transformed as Kudumiyanmalai, and the presiding deity has been called as Kudumiyar. The legend behind the name transformation, as Kudumiyanmalai, as follows. King Sundarapandian had a custom that he often visited this temple at evening, to worship Lord Shiva. The temple guru used to offer the king with the prasadam. That is, the sacred things offering to God, including food, flowers, and so on. One day, that prasadam had been given to one temple dancer, for what? The temple guru had decided that the king wouldn't have visited the temple, as there had been so late, to close the temple. But, the king had turned up, however very late at the temple. Having noticed the visit of the king, the temple guru became very frightened enough what to do with the king, for the prasadam he would have to give him. Suddenly, he got back the prasadam from the temple dancing girl, and gave it to the king. In the prasadam, the king noticed some strands of hair on the flowers, as those flowers had been worn by the dancing girl, before she had given back to the temple guru. Having noticed the strands of hair on the flowers, which had been given as prasadam by the temple guru, the king wanted the explanations for the strands of hair found on the prasadam. The temple guru, in no way to escape from the situation, lied to the king that the strands of hair, supposed to come from the tuft of Lord Shiva, which has been called as Kudumi in Tamil language. Having not satisfied with the answer he had listened from the temple guru, the king locked him inside the temple, and told the temple guru that he would come on tomorrow, and would check whether the presiding deity was having a tuft on his head, or not. Having imprisoned within the temple premises, the temple guru, the whole night, had prayed to Lord Shiva, that he could have been saved from the severe punishment to be given by the king, if what he had told to the king would have been proved as false statement. The very next day, the king rushed to the temple and wanted to find out the truth behind the statement of that temple guru. For that, he asked the temple guru to show the presiding deity without any flower decoration and all. The temple guru also obeyed the king and had done the same. What a surprise! There, Lord Shiva in linga form had been seen with Tuft on top of that linga. The king, overwhelmed with surprise, tried to pull the tuft away from the top of that linga. Alas! He failed in that task. Instead, bleeding had occurred from the tuft of that linga. The king and the gathering in the temple premises shouted with the spiritual joy that what he had been told by the temple guru was really a truth. But the temple guru only knew that he had been saved from the severe punishment of the king by the grace of Lord Shiva, who proved that the tuft had been formated for his devotees freed from the guilty. As the presiding deity here has resided with a tuft on the top of the linga, he has been praised as Lord Kudumiyanmalai. And hence the hillock has been called as Kudumiyanmalai. Since the word tuft means Kudumini in Tamil language. Once again, in Tamil language, Sigai means hair, and Guri means top. Hence the presiding deity here in this temple has also been called as Sigagurishwarar. From the inscriptions seen at the temple premises, this temple, except the cave temple at the top, had been originated somewhat in the 10th century, which had been built by the kings of Cholas. The renovation work had been undertaken by the kings of Pandiyas in the 13th century, and by the kings of Vijayanagar dynasty in the 15th century. When we enter into the temple, having passed through the giant entrance doors, the 1,000-pillared mandapam welcomes you all. Name itself it holds 1,000-pillared mandapam, but when in counting, the pillars have been only 645. The sculptures, lined up in this mandapam, are having got the architectural style of Vijayanagar dynasty. Here, we could able to see the sculptures of one of the great Indian epics, the Ramayana's characters of Hanuman, Sugrivan, and Vali. All of them have been smeared with butter and vermilion. When I had visited this temple, there had been renovation work without touching its antique style and its old format. Even the pillars, beams, from where it had been taken out for repair, again could have been placed in that same position without touching its antique architectural style, as it has been under the custody of Indian Archaeology Department. This temple has been surrounded with serene landscape of fine sloped hillock, and the tank, full of water, packed with the flowers of lotus and herbs. The trees and rich plantations around the tank, which lies at the left-hand side of temple wall, and the road found aside the hillock, could definitely fetch one heavenly atmosphere there.